Hi, this is William Chakowski again, going over the war game assignment for Promineo Bootcamp. Let's hop right into it. So first, we wanted to create 3 specific classes and then an app class. The 3 specific classes are card, deck, and player. The first class, card, is going to be establishing the card object. So our constructor for this is public card. It consists of a value and a name. And we have our getters and setters, and we have a method to describe the card. Then for our deck class, we had one field here. It was a new list of cards that's going to compose the deck itself. And so our constructor of the deck is going to be utilizing a function called build deck, where we initiate a for loop to start building the cards based off of their values, starting from 2 all the way up to 14, which 14 represents ace. Ace is high. And we used a separate method to introduce the suits to the card as well. And that was the method create suit. So each time it passes through an I value in the for loop for build deck, it is also going through the create suit method and creating a number of cards for each suit. So for example, if we're at I2 in our loop, we are going to then create a card 2 for clubs, a 2 for spades, a 2 for diamonds, and a 2 for hearts. And that's going to get stored within the array cards. And that all gets compiled together into the deck. And so that's this one. We also had a shuffle method in here to shuffle the deck, so it's randomized. And then we had a draw method to draw cards. So then in our third class for the player object, we were able to create the players and associate certain variables with them as well, namely the score and the name. So also in this class, we had established a flip method. So the player will be able to flip cards from their hand and reveal those cards and remove them from that pile. And then we also have the draw to hand method, which draws from the original deck and adds to the player's hands. And then another method to increase their score later on based off of comparing the 2 results of the cards flipped. And so in the actual application, we created our deck, we created our players, we shuffled our deck, and then we dealt the cards out from the deck to the players. And then from there, we started revealing cards from each of the individual players and comparing them to each other, and based off of who had the greater value card, incrementing their score by 1. And then eventually, at the end of that loop, we would determine who won or lost based off of comparing final scores. In the event that the scores were tied, we also have a draw, and also if cards were similar value, we also had a draw method there. So if we run our program, you'll see that it starts revealing cards from each player, comparing them, awarding a point to the player, and then showing the scores of each player between rounds. And so in this instance, player 1 won 10 rounds and player 2 won 16 rounds. So the overall winner was player 2 with a score of 16.